Go for it.
Yes, sir. You'd mentioned at one time, as we're walking, the chi will leave one foot and essentially go into the ground and cycle back up into the other foot and up the leg. Does it leave the front foot and cycle down to the back?
Leaves the back.
Back to the front.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
On all the static postures, I didn't really feel, I felt chi going to the end sometimes, but on the fourth one, when I was connected to the heart, I felt it here the whole time it was up.
Yeah, okay. That you felt it in your heart the first time is, shall we say, a good step one. I'll just tell you what I told them, and I just think it's a little bit advanced for most of you, but you might as well just know about it. There's also a whole thing that you actually get right here, the Lao Gung point, the pulse. Not opening and closing the hand, you actually get, here, Jim, come over here. Jim is a doctor, so he's felt veins and arteries going boom, 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 boom. Fair comment? Cool. So just tell him what's going on. Put your hand right on the Lao Gung point. If you really get this,
it's pulsing. I can feel a pulse right in the center of the palm.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a big old artery and blood vessel there, but it's not about that. If you ever see pictures like they always show a thing like with the eye of the Buddha. It's very popular in Thailand and everything. Well, it's because, and another thing this thing is about, is that the center of your palm is directly connected to your upper, middle, and lower dantian. And another major function of this posture is, since you brought it up, is that this whole thing in this pumping is actually to start getting all three of your dantian online. Its most important thing is to get the heart going, is to get the center of the heart. And that is what begins kicking off the whole series of using the static arm postures to where they can go in terms of all emotions, all thought, and all psychic perceptions. So just letting you know, it's not the first posture you do it, but you kind of got to warm up to these things.
As we're starting to learn these postures, is it better to work on them first standing, then straight line walking, and then circle walking?
No, okay. It actually won't make a damn bit of difference if you do it standing. That's a method that's used for Tai Chi and whatnot, but it's quite common when you're getting your walking together to use some of these ones when you're doing straight line walking. And it's easier on the balance, I should mention. But if you're going to do that, I would only do it for, no, it's okay, the first four would work. That wouldn't be a problem. But then you have to go back right from the beginning again and do them circle walking. Because the body's straight line just, it doesn't do things it does going around in a circle. That's the only way I can describe it. Okay? But yeah, no, it wouldn't help you to stand like this. There's a different type of thing you get off of this stuff. And I remember this, for example, I remember asking my first teacher, Wang Shujing, this question. And given the fact he was pretty much known for his ability to stand, and he had studied with Wang Xiangzai, the guy who brought the whole Yichuan lineage, and he knew about the whole thing. He said, no, Bagua, you move. The only standing posture that there is the bit where you make your feet go pigeon toe and hold like this. And you only do it for a maximum of 5 or 10 minutes. And the only purpose of it is really to start getting the currents from the left to the right side of your body in action, to get the chi moving between the left and the right side of your body in action. You don't have standing practices in Bagua. The standing practice of Bagua is to walk around doing static arm postures. That is the equivalent of all these standing postures they do in Qigong. As well as Tai Chi holding postures. That's what they do in Tai Chi, and in most forms of Qigong, they'll have standing postures. But and Xingyi will have Santi. But Bagua, no. Round and round. That's it. Different method.
What's the breathing that goes with the standing arm posture number 4, the last one that we got?
This one, the point is to breathe with the back of your lungs. Okay? You're not doing it, but the next posture is this, and there's one like this. Well, those two are really about making sure the very upper part of your lungs gets in the act. It starts happening. Okay?
Could you please review the spine-foot connection? That part's been elusive.
Okay. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to say this twice to make it easy for the editing block. The phrase I heard when I was first in Taiwan by a little guy, it was one of Wang Shujing's students. He just said, when he was seeing our way, he just said, "Fuck you foot." He was saying, "Fuck your foot." Now, okay, wait a minute. And obviously, you'd have to have a terribly strange anatomy to pull this off. But what he's talking about is that if you take your spine as the penis, right? And you take the leg as the bulk of the vaginal canal, and you talk about your foot being at the end of the day where you arrive at, that's what fucking your foot's about. Now, in terms of penetrating your leg to your foot with your spine, in terms of penetrating your leg to your foot with your spine, the point is this. We go to this business of Liu Tun Si Kwa, and you talk about that you're here. Now watch. The point here is this. Normally when people walk, they have a tendency to kind of feel their hips and feel their feet, and there's not much in the middle. Okay? Watch. You want to deliberately get the energy of your spine to come down. Look at my pelvis. Look what's just happening. Can you see the way it's dropping? Now, I don't think most of you are going to be able to do this in the beginning, but it's a standard Qigong thing. The bit of it is this. If I do it standing, maybe you can see it. This is my hips. This is my midriff. Watch. Can you see how my hands are here? Now watch what's going to happen next. You see my pelvis kind of descending? That means the midriff has to open up. Or if I was standing here, you could simply see it, the fact that I just let that drop. Yes or no? So an arch is not going to cut it. It literally has to drop. So you first get the sense of your spine, almost like a sandbag dropping to your foot. What will help this? What will help this, basically, we now go back to Liu Tun Si Kwa. This is my tailbone, right? This is my butt. Just look. But however, if you get your butt to go under very slightly, you get an angle where you start getting that, a type of a pressure, a flow that goes down your leg until, by getting enough of a tuck, it goes to your foot. That's basically what it's about. Okay? Now, the thing is that if you're standing and you're kind of cut at the waist to where, you know, your spine's this way or something, again, watch my spine again. See if this makes some kind of sense to you. I need someone to help me. Can I just have someone? I want you just to put your hands right here at the base of my skull so you can see my skull is not going up or down. Just stick it right here. No, 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 no. 2 fingers, like this. Now watch. You got that? Yes or no? Now there are 2 ways you can get the vertebrae of your spine to elongate. You can get them to elongate by going up or by going down. Either way, you get space. So just watch. Look at my pelvis. Did you watch my whole spine lengthen going down? Yes or no? Okay? That is the drop part. Now you have this. Now if that may alone have gotten you down to your foot, because that's, for example, what you do in Tai Chi, but if you haven't got that, then when you go like this, watch, and you let everything go, you let your pelvis drop forward slightly, and that gets the chi down to your foot. That's the mechanism. Okay. Sure enough. Most people, all they know about Liu Tun Si Kwa is kind of, well, your pelvis goes under and your tailbone kind of goes forward. Remember, there's a whole thing that's done. Oh, God. I'm trying to remember the year. I think it was 77, but I'm not 70. I think it was 77. But I remember in Hong Kong when I was being taught that they just had me really getting my spine out to my, every time I wanted to take a step forward, I was doing 2-part stepping, whoom, to get me to really take off. And it was all about literally just, oh, your pelvis gets you forward. And the object was that it wasn't that your pelvis going forward, just like, you know, you're throwing yourself forward. It was the fact that your pelvis was really going into your foot to get you to move. And that was a big thing. They were on me anyway for about 3 months till I got it cold. Okay? All right.
I wanted to ask about the straight line because you said they used to make people do it a long time.
Yeah.
But just now you just said that everything you do in a straight line, you have to redo it over in the circle.
That's right.
So,
But wait a second. You've now done straight line walking and circle walking. Which is easier?
straight line.
That's right. Question, when you do straight line walking, do you not do all the same leg procedures you do in circle walking?
Yes.
So you do the easy one with straight line walking until your body adapts to how to walk. But then you have to go to the next harder level, what the real game is about, and that's circle walking. So if you find, for example, that walking in a circle is just, I mean, just getting the 1, 2, 3, 4 and getting your balance on your back leg and pulling your foot in is just too difficult for you. Your body's not quite getting it. Just go back and do straight line walking until your body gets those steps very, very clearly. Now, they did that anywhere from a month to 6 months. And their objective was that when a person finished straight line walking, at least in terms of the stepping, their mind was very stable and settled. Now, if you only do straight line walking for a week or 2 or a month, your mind could still be jumping all over the place. So the issue was that the mind really settled, became very stable, because when you start going around a circle, every point inside you that is not stable, eventually from doing this and going faster and going around, is going to start coming up like a volcano. A volcano might be too strong, but your system is going to discharge it. And if the stuff that in you is very strong, it could come up like a volcano, but it's just going to keep on getting thrown out. If the actual stepping you're doing is not somewhat proper and smooth, that diminishes the ability of all that stuff that's repressed inside you for coming up and going out. So if you want to actually, as they say, take the garbage out of the house instead of just leaving it in the basement to stink, then the stepping, having good stepping is really important. So that's why it was, and fair enough, you know. But on the other issue for what the other person said, well, could you hold the standing arm postures when you're walking in a straight line? The answer basically is sure, but the same rule applies in either circle walking or straight line walking. Until your body feels very stable doing the walking, you have no business putting your hands up in the air. It is an utterly wasteful and counterproductive activity. Okay, so exactly where is that with somebody? I don't know. Some people it's shorter, some people it's longer. That's just the fact. Okay. Say it again.
Oh, bringing the back foot forward while walking.
Bring the feet parallel, right?
Yeah. Now, the mechanism for bringing the foot forward. I've got 3 different versions.
Okay. Come here and I'll show you the version you probably should remember, because although I'm going old and senile and my brain doesn't work, I think I can remember it. I'll do my best. Come here, come over here. Stand right next to me. Look. So, okay, so go on your forward leg first. So you're talking about from here to next. Okay, so you go forward now. Okay, so it goes like this. Okay, so you got so much weight on your back leg. Your leg weighs whatever it weighs. Let's just say 10 pounds. Just for 100. I mean, whatever. You're a sumo. Okay, look. First thing is that you got to get the weight off your back leg. You have to have the 0 weight. No, you don't lean your body forward. You simply let your butt go slightly forward until the leg becomes weightless. Now, put your foot back there. Let your butt go slightly forward until you feel your foot feels weightless. Then you pick up your foot and bring it in by continuing to move your butt. It's a little bit like moving into neutral before you go into gear. So go back again. So what is the going into neutral? Just this very light bit with getting the butt to go slightly forward until your leg goes weightless. That's neutral. Isn't that what a neutral in a car is? So you can go to any gear. It's a zero juncture. Then, okay, you got it? Continue moving your pelvis forward. No, just bring your feet together. Don't. This is the one thing he just did that I really want to caution against. Come here. This is kind of like, well, actually, let me get someone who's got, Craig, come here, because you got better, you're more hip. You can go sit down again, it's okay. I want to make this point, it's very important. And I said this before, but we're not doing this at this moment because we don't have time, but I wouldn't assume it might not happen next week, because it might, very easily. So you go forward, your weight's on your front leg. When you're here, the first step is that your foot is still on the ground. And then you just lightly move your pelvis a bit. Now, see, you're assuming that at this juncture, bring your feet together, Craig. It's like this, and your foot's off the ground. But go back again. Because you're assuming right now that the only thing you're ever going to do in Bagua, doing the most basic thing, a bit like someone who learned the word cat, thinks that's the entire dictionary. You have to realize that once you go here and your foot goes empty, don't move it, don't move it, don't move it. There's 2 points. There is make the foot empty, then move the foot. But now the next question becomes, where are you going to move the foot? Well, okay, Craig, get it empty. No, 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 don't pick your foot up. Get it empty. Now, turn and do a toe out and face him back at you. Do you understand? You could go there. There's no obligation you have to go forward. Did you all follow me? And in Bagua, the fact is you do it all the time. Go back here again. So he does it again. He comes forward. He gets his weight off. He goes to neutral. Now, step that way. Step to the side. Hey, that's not forward either. All right, let's do it again. Now, do it again and go 45 degrees back that way. Tuck under, go to neutral, now turn, and step that way. And just keep on continuing. These are all direction change. Okay, you've only done the most basic stuff. A level 1 is only the most basic stuff. A, B, C. Forget the rest of the alphabet. But it's A, B, C. And if you don't have A, B, C, guess what? Later on, you clearly can't write anything without ABC. Actually, it isn't accurate to say this is ABC. It's more accurate to say that what you're learning in a level 1 is the vowels. That would be more accurate, just no consonants. That would be more accurate. Okay.
So, continuing along the same line, we're here and we're going forward and we're doing the foot brake. Now, this is hard for me personally. It also seems like if I was teaching it, it would be one of those things that could very easily start building a lot of tension into somebody's leg.
Yeah, and so what's the question?
So my question is, I've gotten the advice to practice just getting a sort of like kick and get the stuff into the front. Are there other methods for trying to get into this foot brake?
No, the kick one is the best. He goes here, so he kicks. Now, when he kicks, his pelvis does not go forward. Do you understand? Kick. Now, you see where he is here? Now what he's going to do is, now he has to do the foot brake by tucking his ass under. Tucking his butt forward, just like you did before to get your weight off. So we have 2 things. The mistake that people make and why they get messed up and why they jam their knees, yes? The mechanism behind the jamming is, come here, is that they bring their thing together, they go forward a little bit, and then they put their foot down and their weight goes somewhere toward the middle, and that has the effect of crashing their foot, which sends a shock wave right back up to their knee. So again, to go how this goes, to be very precise about it, here you go. Remember I said the thing about when I would walk? You know, you'd be surprised how motivating it is when someone sticks a sword and puts it about that far from your balls. I mean, I'm telling you, you don't have your pelvis go forward. It has a certain motive. Of course, he'd pull it back if I actually did, but the motivation was the central issue. I hope he would have pulled it back. But considering that Wang Shijing killed 40 people in challenge matches, I sure as hell wasn't going to bet my ass on it. That's all I got to tell you. Here we go. Now, here we go. So he gets his foot out, right? How are we doing? So now he tucks his pelvis under, and he still doesn't have this go forward. Go ahead. And that's how he makes the foot brake. Now, if you do that, the fact is that here, go back again, if your weight goes, your foot forward like this, that creates a thump. That's how you get a shock wave back up to your knee. Yes or no? But if your footing, you have it really, really close to the ground, and you're like this, and all you do is tuck your pelvis, all you've had is about that much movement, even to cause shock back up to your knee. And that's not that big a deal. Yes? So this will screw your knee up, but this, which your pelvis won't, because you're not getting the weight of your torso and your body hitting your foot and sending the shock wave to your knee. That's all it comes down to. Okay, good. I want you to get this together, and here's the way you really should get it together. I want a person to hold, I want you to do it with 3 people. I want one person just to hold your hand so you have balance. Yes? I want the other person to put their forearm right against your pelvis. So that you kick your foot out, you get it out a bunch of times, and then I want it to switch. When you think you actually can kick your foot out without going forward, then what I want is another person to do this. Give me a correct. He goes like this, and this is all you're going to do. You see his foot's here? This is what you're going to do. To get where he doesn't go, and the third person is going to still have their pelvis so they can't move forward. Okay? Do you understand? So their pelvis can't, and then look, you do this for them. Go down. Pelvis tuck, boom. Pelvis tuck, boom. And they just have this person do it until you can get how to do it softly enough that you press onto the bubbling well point, but you don't get the shock that goes back up to your knee, because that's how the knee damage, and that's how the shock goes back to the spine. Yes, no? Got the idea? Cool. You guys should remember this too. All right.
Initially, we learned to bring the foot up parallel, to have a slight pause.
Yes, when you're walking slowly, that's the only way you should do it. When you walk fast, it's almost like you're in suspension before you go out. See, because you don't know what direction I'm going to go in either. I want you to start thinking that. Again, Craig, come here because it'll be very easy. That's fine. So he brings his feet parallel. When you're walking at any point, just take a step out. At any point when you get here and you bring your feet together, you don't want to have the momentum that your foot has to go forward. No. No. Because if you did this properly and you pulled yourself up, you should be in absolute suspension here. So that if he decides to go that way, Craig. Cool. Now come back again. Bring your feet together. Come this way. Do you understand? From that central point, go back again. Okay, going back at you. Are you getting the point now? Each of these three steps are independent, and you have to learn how to make them a continuum where there's like this mini, micro kind of, it isn't a stop. It's 100 miles an hour, 40, 100, 40, or 80 miles an hour. But there has to be the ability to have that stability point in the end. That's absolutely critical. Okay? And the reason why it doesn't happen is that when you bring your feet together, your central channel isn't really down to your foot. And I'll give you the bigger reason why it doesn't happen. It happens because you didn't really get the twisting of your legs and pulling the energy up your body. That's the real reason, is if you don't have the pulling of the energy up your body to stabilize you, what you have is just picking your foot and you got all this forward momentum. There should be no forward momentum when your feet go parallel. So each step, in the parlance of the age, it's your choice to make, not there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? Now, you will notice something. The fingers going forward are pretty close to his lower dantian, yes or no? The ideal scenario is them to actually come right in front of your lower dantian. Most people have trouble with that, and they usually end up closer to being their belly button. But the reason why they can't do it is just that their shoulders and their spine being up, their body's doesn't have enough space internally. So you want to move toward having that internal space. The next thing that has to happen is that we're now effectively going back. See how you've done this? You let your hands just come down, bring them to your side, and then converge towards your lower dantian on your left and your right. Look at my foot going out. And this is a real extension. Now, if you're looking at this from the point of view of martial arts or something, this gives you power down here, which is most people in martial arts don't have. So, somebody, whoever, come up here. I want to poke somebody. Who wants to get poked? Okay. All right. So good. So let's say Lee was just take a pop at me. Take your hand away. Okay, and I'm being nice because it also could be, do it again. It's okay, I'm not going to. That's not his groin. What that is that's actually right below where his psoas is, and if I do that with a strong thing, he's not going to walk anymore. No, well, he's not going to walk for a while. Well, it depends how you do it. No, you actually can't make a person not walk by that unless you go all the way through to their spine, or unless you make your hand go in, and as you go in, the trick of it, if you're strong enough to do it, is that when your fingers go in, they curve this way, and then you actually grab the psoas and you pull it out, which is not friendly. Look, I'm sorry, martial arts is not a nice game. It is reverse medicine. It's not about healing. It is about killing with extreme prejudice. But get this point. If I don't do my feet, did you all get how that's coming out from your feet? This particular one really gets where the chi of your fingers is generated by the chi of your toes. And that's a big thing. This is a this is a very strong one about linking your lower dantian and your fingers to your toes. If you get your fingers to your toes, guaranteed you get your hand, you get your palm and your wrist, your palm and your feet. Okay, so the thing about it, if you can watch me, is here's the hard part. Here, Isaac and Paul, just come over here because you're here. Come here. I'm going to do something that's I want you to put your hands underneath my elbows. Okay? There you go. Cool. Now, where this thing is going is just what? And again, don't let my elbows rise up in the air. It's a nice thing to do. Don't let them rise up in the air. Come on. Come on. Come on. Now, this. Paul, will you try and lift my fucking arm up in the air? Or the next thing I'm going to do is make you wish you had. Go for it. Come on. Up, up, up. There you come on. Come on. There you go, boys. I like that. That's good. No, that's a fine. Oh. But no. Now lift them up.
It's kind of hard.
And this is what you're doing with your hands. Now watch. See my hands go out? What? See them go back? These elbows have a real boom, and they're into your feet. Now, so you guys know what I did. Do it again. If you can look at my feet, try and lift me. I'm literally got my hands into my feet. They're literally going to have to lift my body up vertically, which is hard. So all the things for those of you, the martial art mavens, this whole business is all this stuff nice down below. It's about fingers. It's also about having an immense amount of strength. Look, Lee, down here. Now, how many people have a lot of juice down here? No, Bagua you do. Bagua you do. Bagua you do. Okay, that's not a normal martial art thing. How many people do you know, Anita, who have a lot of juice with their hands down here? It's not very common, is it? No, I don't think so. Bagua you do. It's that simple. Because if you have, come here, Isaac. If you have it down here, come on. If you have it down here, right? Guess what?
Bummer.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, so that if you have to touch somebody, you're doing Rosho. Come here, I'll just show you. You're doing Rosho, and all of a sudden your hands are down here. What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do?
Get hit.
No, but I'm trying to say you can't really do much with your hand, can you?
Nah.
No, you can't.
It's stuck.
It's very light, it's loose, but it's not. No, if I push his hand down, he can fight against it. But if I just sink it down, he has nothing to fight against. There's just nothing to fight against. So the thing is that you have to bring your chi and your weight, right down to your foot. So then if they're going to do something to your hands, you have to pick you up. Now, from the perspective of chi, what this is doing is really getting the energy of your hands and your fingertips down to your feet and then recirculating back up. And that's why it's coming out of your lower dantian. So the energy from your fingers to here and your head congeals in your lower dantian. That's what it's about in terms of chi. In terms of meditation, this again is not just getting your mind to settle, but then making that mind that's settled extremely alive. Extremely alive. That's the only way I can put it. That's its central point as a beginning standing meditation posture. How are we doing? Now, we've done front, we've done side, so it was only a matter of time before we did the back. Now this one specifically is really about opening up the kidneys, and it is about really getting the arms to link to the spine. So someone here who's got good feeling that you'll all believe, whoever it is, I want you to come here and just put your hands on my kidneys while I walk, because I need to have someone just verify what I'm saying is so. Are you used to feeling? with your hand? You got good hands?
Yeah, I'd like to try. I can
Well,
do
no,
pretty well.
but are you used to feeling bodies is my question.
Pretty good.
Okay, come
Not great, but.
All right, so okay, so you know where the kidneys are. Now watch.
Wow.
Tell them what's happening.
It feels like tons of pressure is just pushing backwards right in that area.
It lifts the kidneys, fills up the kidneys, and then you walk. Now, the other thing it does, put your hand on my spine, just do the forefoot. Get a good chunk of it with the fingers, otherwise you're not going to feel it from the palm that easily. Thank you. Now tell them what's happening to my back.
Wow,
now push against the spine.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Like opening up, sort of up and down at the same time.
And now try and push on the spine and tell me what it feels like. Tell them what it feels like.
Pretty heavy, pushing back against me.
It's like a piece of steel, yay or nay?
More or less.
Okay, so that's what that's about. This is a very important posture for the spine, making the spine very, very strong. Okay, making the spine very strong, just strong as hell. It's about the kidneys. And one of the things about the kidneys, and this is again, strengthening the lower dantian, because between your lower dantian and Mingmen, which is right here on your spine, there's a channel. And opening this up, the energy of your kidneys effectively drops down to where that channel is and goes into your lower dantian. In embryology, it's basically how your kidneys came into existence. They dropped. Your lower dantian went down with it. But the bigger issue here is that as your hands go back this way, it opens up the kidneys. That drops the energy down the Mingmen, and that goes direct into your lower dantian. So as you're doing this, beside the fact that your spine's becoming like a piece of steel, you should genuinely start feeling at a certain point when you get just the right height, like your dantian is just filling up, like the gas tank. Something just put the gas in and turned it on. Okay? Now obviously all these type of things are about everything in Bagua where you hit from the back. Now most people, come here, most people can't really hit that hard from the back. Now you can see that doing this posture is opening up your shoulders, but it's more than that. It's more than that. It's also more that when you get behind, this is a very, very common technique in Bagua. Someone takes a shot at you, you take him this way and you just hit them on the way out. They don't see it because they're seeing your arm, and you can even look them right in the face, and they're not expecting anything. And the next thing you know, they got problems. In terms of your mind, if the source of your life force, your kidneys, becomes weak, the mind will tend to go foggy. Do you understand? Like what's going on here? This particular posture, over time, cleans out that chi, and the way you know it is that when the fog goes away and your mind becomes clear. And that is where your body is interfering with meditation. It's not the deeper levels of your mind, but your body is making so you can't get to the deeper levels of your mind. Access door shut. I want you guys to start thinking about something. Huh? There are two things. There's access. Can you actually get to it? And then there is, what do you do when you get there? How do you use it? Many of the things I've shown you, some of them I've kind of the way I've said it, they're about getting the access. And some things I've said are about doing something once you had the access. What I would just recommend that you put into your minds, into your heads, so you don't forget this, is lots of people have a tendency to skip a step. They go for the usage without the access. They go to the access and actually don't do anything with it. It's both. It's both. And I want you to keep that in mind. It's both. It's not either or, but it's both. It's and. Sometimes you work on the usage first at a light level to then have enough strength to get the access to the deep stuff. Sometimes you just have to get access and you develop what you get access to. Bagua, in its learning curve, just kind of goes back and forth, the two of them, switching all the time. Okay, so let's go to what the third one is. Yeah? What? I'm not hurting. Oh, yeah. Now, here's another trick. Look at my hand. You don't want to do it to where you feel like you have a lot of pressure, your kidneys are going to go. They're too much pressure. I wish to bear this in mind to you. There are only two shots, two punches that are banned in Western Bagua. Well, beside the groin. Three. The groin, come here. There's two others. They don't allow shots in the back of the head, right? Mixed martial arts doesn't allow shots on the back of the head. You know why? Because the easiest single way to kill someone is to come right there and to sever the cord at the base of the head. Clearly, there is no, well, I shouldn't say that. You can cut through the vertebrae of the neck too, but that's a pretty damn reliable one. There's a second one. They do not allow kidney shots because the kidneys bleed and people die. More people have died in boxing, not at the match, but the next day, because their kidneys were bleeding and had renal failure. You follow me? So this says that your kidneys are sensitive. Build them up, don't smash them. Part of this is that eventually what goes on here, remember I said that whole bit about your palm, opening and closing and the pulsing? Well, it's also done that when you walk in these postures, that the hand, if you just can watch me from the back, the hand is doing this, that when the hand connects to the kidneys, the hands are very lightly doing this, pulsing the kidney and circulating the energy around the kidneys. And you will find that whereas sometimes just putting the pressure won't lift the fog that's in your head, doing this will. So that's all I can say is give it a shot. Okay, so. The one thing I did want to make a point, I was watching a lot of you really huffing and puffing. You need to get your breath more together. Now, you remember I've talked about, at least in each of these postures, for those of you here up to 4, and for those of you later on, you really need to practice the breathing in those postures. I am telling you, when your test comes, you're going to be glad when you have it. The other thing is this, if it gets hot, just do this one more time. You can get the heat out of your internal organs with this breathing. There's 2 ways to do it. Number 1, you could do the way they do it in yoga. But the only trouble is only 70% of the population can physically do it. And it goes like this. You take your tongue. Look at me. You breathe deep into your stomach and then with your tongue. Can you see what I'm doing? If you can do it, great. And you just can breathe the heat out of your belly. If you can't do that one, and I'm saying because 30% of the population physically can't. It's genetic. Listen to this very carefully. All I can do is have you hear the sound because there are what are called dragon breaths. There's about 30 of them, and they all do very different things. This one is specifically this way to release heat. You have to make your stomach, it's almost as though when you're taking the heat out, you close your belly a little bit. Look at me. You close your belly trying to force the heat up and out. And if you do it, you'll finally get to where you'll almost feel as though hot air is coming out of your mouth, and you can discharge heat from your internal organs. Half of it is the fact that you actually do release heat. But the second part of it is it has an effect on the nerves inside your belly, which cause your body to naturally dispel it. Okay? Now, the ideal scenario when you practice by yourself is to double your walking speed 4 times. Now, some of you, when I say double your walking speed, I've watched you for years, you go about 5 times faster. You need to modulate how you're actually just doubling your walking speed, which means that you need to figure out when you start how slow you should walk to begin with. Now, if you find that you all of a sudden start trying to go fast like this, and your nervous system goes crazy, I have a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, was that a 10 or a 2? That was a 2. It stinks. It's stupid. It is not the point. The faster you go, the more clean and calm and smooth running your nervous system has to be. That's the thing in Bagua. That's why they can move so damn fast. You can't move that fast when your nervous system resists you. You can't keep it up for that long, especially now, not with twisting movements. Because twisting movement starts releasing stuff much deeper inside you than normal stuff, lengthwise movements do, like as if you're running. Because normal running movements will not necessarily cause your emotions to activate. And you would be surprised that when you get emotional resistance, how much that will slow your body up. Anyway, so all I'm trying to say is that it needs to get smoother. So the question becomes, one, if your breathing is smooth, that helps. But what helps even more than that is somehow just having your mind enter your nervous system. Feel that. Feel it. Don't run away from it. Don't encourage it. Feel it and then just slowly see if you can start releasing it. Because you don't need tension to move quickly. As a matter of fact, you'll move slower. Can everybody follow that? Yes or no? So what I'm trying to say is that you need to understand how to calm down your nervous system and make it steady. Okay? The art of meditation, you cannot truly begin to get past your mind until you at least go the first cut of getting past your nervous system. You can't. It's not possible. So much of what you will think are just mental or emotional issues are actually, honestly, your nervous system going crazy. So your nervous system has to become smooth first. Okay, and the Taoists found this whole circle walking thing, part of the whole thing of going fast is it really gets the energy of the earth, shall we say, kicking in. Then, how do you get that you can just tune your system and make it smoother? So what I'm saying is that look at your nerves. If for any reason, I'm not encouraging anybody to have it, but if during this next week or two you see anybody have an emotional freak out around you, just watch them and look at their nerves. See if you can get what their nervous system is doing. If for some reason you have an emotional freak out, look at what your nerves are doing. Don't run away from it. Look at it. Get it. Rather unambiguously. Because I'm telling you, relaxing your nervous system, that is what stress is, folks. That's the age we live in. We live in a stress age. That's it. Sometimes I don't know if all these guys who invented computers were doing us a favor, honestly. A lot of problems. Humans are not yet easily adapted to moving at the speed they're moving at the current time. But let me tell you, this stuff was the same thing in China 2,500 years ago when I'm telling you, time was measured by, the sun coming up and the sun coming down, not by minutes and hours. So this is intrinsic to the human condition. We're just in a particularly rough patch right now. Does everybody have this?